Hello, my name is Ian Stewart. I'm the Volunteer Resources Director, recently elected. My first task on behalf of the whole board is to thank you, every single volunteer on the railway, for your efforts throughout 2017. As Colin Fewell will explain later, it was an excellent year and we know that an enormous amount of hard work went in throughout. Thank you from all of us. We are very grateful. There was, of course, a highlight, and that was the extension of the track through to Broadway. That went exceptionally well. We now have 15 miles of track from Cheltenham Racecourse through to Broadway. Now, a little bit about my role. There are 6 of us in the personnel team, and essentially we support the HODs, the heads of department, in manning the departments and in making sure that we've got the right people at the right place. We also support you, the volunteers, in anything that you want to do, and make sure that the framework in which you work does work for both you and for the railway. And finally, we try and resolve any problems. We don't promise to resolve them all to your total satisfaction. We do promise to listen, to work at them, to do everything we can to resolve them so that everybody is content.
What I like to do in this short video is take a look back at 2017 from a commercial perspective. Because after all, if we don't bring the money in, we can't then invest in a track, in new platforms, new stations, etc. So commercially, our business is very important. So how did we do in 2017? Well, incredibly well. I'm amazed that I'm saying that, because at the end of 2016, I was saying we'd had an increase of 13% in 1 year, and I didn't expect that to continue. Well, it has. 2017 set another record. We're now on 101,000 visitors during the year, which puts us right at the top league as far as tourist attractions and as far as Heritage Railways is concerned. And that, of course, imposes extra responsibilities on us. So it's been a great year. Let's have a look at particularly where it's been a great year. First of all, as far as I'm concerned, the most important thing is the normal, ordinary, bog standard days have increased in passenger numbers. That means that when we don't run any special events, we're still getting more people than we've ever had before. But then there are several other activities during the year. Schools, fish and chips, we've had race trains, we've had so many other specials that have all been successful. We've had BBC filming here as well, which has brought extra people, so it's all gone very well. As far as the special events are concerned, they also have been successful. And perhaps as an aside here, perhaps I could just say, I don't expect every special event to increase business to the railway. It can't. We can't each year increase the number of people coming to every special event. The most important thing about all these special attractions is they're fun, they're professionally organised, and our volunteers thoroughly enjoy doing them. In the passing, of course, we do get increased numbers, but not in every case. So if we have a look back at 2017, the highlights, I suppose, were Wartime Weekend. That just seems to grow and grow and grow. In the last 5 years since we reintroduced this weekend, it's grown up now to be one of the biggest events of the year, and it's also having an impact on local towns. Winchcombe Town, for instance, had a parade on the Saturday of George VI, General Montgomery, and I think Laurel and Hardy. And this year we are working with the village of Broadway, and we're going to do the same thing. So wartime is becoming very, very important for us. A couple of other events that we've had, well, we introduced a brand new Lego weekend, although I'm not allowed to call it that, Bricks Weekend, which brought something over 1,000 people just to see the actual Lego exhibition. In October we had the second of our food fairs, which again growing enormously each year, requiring a larger marquee each year. So all of these have brought in large numbers of people that wouldn't otherwise have come to the railway. Santa was both a success and a disappointment. It was a success in that we had over 11,000 people book tickets. It was a disappointment because we had to cancel one of the days due to snow, which meant that we then had to refund £16 per person to over 1,000 people, which you can imagine was quite a loss to the railway. After Christmas we had another couple of days without any trains because of snow and ice, which again cost us a number of visitors to the railway. But all in all, a tremendously successful year.
As chairman, I want to make sure that we all bear in mind the commercial aspects of this business that we're running. It is a very successful business, but it's important that we look after the financial aspects to make sure that it continues on that basis. If we don't run on a commercial basis, then we're potentially doomed to failure. We have an anticipated turnover in this coming year of £2 million. We've got resources that need to be allocated to necessary expenditure, but there's also a lot of very worthwhile projects that we need to fund. One of the jobs the board has to do is to decide on the relative priorities and decide what's most important. We have to bear in mind that when we took over the railway in the 1980s, the infrastructure hadn't been attended to. It had deteriorated over about the previous 30 years. The infrastructure now is about 100 years old. For example, we're responsible for over 40 bridges. All of those need constant work and attention. Some of the steel bridges need significant repairs, such as the one we're doing at Toddington this year. My job as chairman is to make sure that we all understand this, that we future-proof the railway for future generations and make sure that we spend our resources wisely and prudently. If we can do that, then I think with the benefit of volunteers, everything else takes care of itself.
Finish off by saying one thing that I've said before. 2 years ago we had a man come to the railway to the Real Ale weekend just because he saw an advert in the Tippler magazine. He enjoyed himself at the Real Ale weekend. He took away with him a Thomas leaflet. The family came to see the Thomas weekend. They enjoyed it. They brought another family in August to our Teddy Bear Tuesday, came again to the Thomas in September, Santa in December, and joined the railway, just because he came to a very small event called our Real Ale Weekend. Just shows how successful we can be. So thank you very much to everybody for all the hard work that you put in during the last year.